Hey guys, and welcome to the SOTL Season 2 of 2017. We're in the...
Had to check there.
No, I'm just going off of everything off the top of my head. This is the second week of the matches, guys, and as you can see, it's displayed right there on the screen for you with the upcoming games. It's going to be BearMe versus Vicious Killers, also known as VK. Now, Seether versus Strike, Azure versus Penalty, Sayak versus Ranger, and Peppy versus Justice Simon. Seether versus Strike is not going to be played now initially, as I believe that there's been a bit of a mix-up with times. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there.
Well, Strike isn't going to be there.
Right, okay.
Seether doesn't have to play that game.
Right, so
unfortunately.
So that's going to be a free win then for BearMe.
Yeah, I believe that goes as one game straight to BearMe.
Right, okay.
Which is a shame, really, because we didn't get to see Seether last week either.
No, that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Let me just sort that out then. Where do we have the scores? So that's going to be a... Oh my god, guys. Quick 1-0 for BearMe. That's kind of cool, I guess. Nah, I'm just fooling around. Anyway, so we're going to jump into Azure versus Penalty, actually, to start the day. It is going to be a TVT as well, so if any of you guys, fans of Terran versus Terran, you know, you won't be disappointed.
It's going to include me, Tenchi, because you know I'm a Terran fan.
Yeah. That is
Actually,
true.
it's going to be a little bit easier because last week we had so much like ZVZ and PVZ. There was a handful of Terran players in total. There's like new names this time around. Do you know what I mean? There's new people on the team rosters, so a little bit more Terran injected into the scene. This week. But mainly, Tenchi, we don't want to see as many of these 3-0s like we saw last week. Like 3 teams, 1F Pro, Team VK, and BearMe cleared 3-0 in their sets.
Was a little bit one-sided, to say the least. I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest, with you know, how the games sort of went down. The only series that was like the only series or the only set that were like really competitive to me were in VTLU 1 versus Varun 5. Like that was the only one where they actually had a bunch of good games, and I think Hunter X and Catalina versus Schnitzel actually turned out to be a pretty good. I was quite impressed with how he played.
Yeah, I mean they were good. The matchups maybe didn't work out favorably for everyone, but I mean we spoke like as it all turns round, we're going to see a lot of those like players that kind of cleared their sets like come up against each other and things will diverse. I mean, I've been in tournaments where it's been 3-0 through the first 2 or 3 rounds. Do you know what I mean? And then it clears up into these.
But this is of course this is a little bit different though, because what you're doing here is you know, it's a team league, right? So you only have best of ones all the way through, which means that you know, if you're not feeling too sharp in this one particular matchup versus your opponent, like let's say for TVP here, for instance, for Sayak, then you know that could just, then you're kind of like -1 point already. So it's a little bit different in terms of the format here, but nonetheless, actually, you know, speaking of Sayak, he is a friend of mine and one of the few Japanese players in StarCraft 2. I think there's like 2 in total. Sayak.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Sayak, and then you have Japanese Urga, Vaisravana as well. Those are the only 2 players that are like notable out of the Japanese StarCraft scene. It's really cool, actually. Like he's a super chill and fun guy. I met him in China when I was there now this year for WSG, and he actually took he beat Namsha, Swedish Zerg, who was looking poised to make a deep run in that tournament, like at least into the rounds of 16, with a really cool and interesting mech style back then. So I'm actually quite keen to see where he stands now, because I remember talking to him, and He's evidently very inspired by the likes of TY and such. Like he really likes the the play style of him. Same thing goes for with innovation, but he's really been struggling a lot. So I'm actually it's gonna be kind of cool to see, you know, where he stands now, because I haven't seen him play for at least half a year. So that's gonna be good.
He's got a a bit of a burden on his shoulders, I think, because if you're a couple of people from Japan representing that scene, but he's going to have interesting play, obviously, because I think you know, we've discussed before the scenes are kind of dictated like country per country, with you know, they have their own kind of like influences, you know. So it'll be interesting to see like what the Japanese have in their arsenal.
Yeah. That being said, we are going to go into game number 1 here, guys, for today's first set. You can hear that I've got all the... Give me a moment, I'm actually going to cheat a little bit here and adjust a few sound options before we actually take it in game. I don't know why it keeps jumping up and down like this. Super annoying with my volume. And I think we're good. Okay.
Sweet.
So here we are, guys. Finally, in the bottom left, in the blue, it is going to be BearMe's Azure. Do not be fooled by his choice of color, by the way.
And in the top right-hand side, playing as the Red Terran from Vicious Killers VK, it is going to be Penalty.
Right, TVT to start the day. It's been a full week since we sat down and did this, you and I, so I don't know. Have you had any time to brush up on your skills, or have you been busy doing other things?
I am on a +6 streak with Terran at the moment, which I'm quite proud of. Yeah, I spend a couple of hours a day actually, just kind of sitting down and.
How many games have you played now? How many ladder games do you have now in total?
Oh, I couldn't tell you the number. Do
you think it's
really check that.
Are you up to more than 100?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, easily. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been enjoying it though. Like I'm kind of hitting this target, and then I'm like, right, we're just gonna go up with another race, and then, you know, just keep experimenting.
So what is the goal here? Like, where have you sort of set the bar?
GM, obviously.
Be a little bit more realistic within the next two months. This isn't Company of Heroes. You can't reach the top 200 in one day.
Oh, he went there. Okay. So my plan is to hit Diamond with Terran. Quickly. Very quickly.
Not going to specify any sort of specific time frame.
By the end of the year.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think that's a sensible target.
I would agree with that. I think that is very doable.
Yeah. I think the main thing now is like the time that you invest into it. Do you know what I mean? So just doing more.
Okay. By the way, obviously, guys, you can see here that both players opted in to go for the double Reaper. It's really uneventful, right, in the early game, unless we see some cool micro tricks going on. But we're actually not seeing any really cool micro tricks. The only thing that I think is worth mentioning there is that Azure gets a slightly better trade at the end of the day, shaving off an additional SCV. Did delay the starport for just one moment. But, I mean, if we look at both of these Terran spaces, they're building the exact same kinds of units. We are going to see a switch up with this tech lamp for Azure, but that's going to be about it. Nothing too extensive for now. What?
I really love it when two players kind of hit the exact same sequence at the start, and then it becomes this. Okay, we're in an even situation. Like, you know, they go at it, try and out micro each other. One person comes off a little bit victorious, but yeah, the build's eerily similar, as you say, with of course Azure getting the third CC up, and Penalty also doing the same a little bit later. So it's yeah, this kind of like a mirror match in every sense.
Yeah, the only thing to me that really stands out here is this, right? We're seeing a Raven first come out of Azure. The Raven is very, very useful, Dan. Not only can you throw down auto turrets to bolster your offensive attack power in a straightforward engagement, but you can also harass with it. It has the points defense drone, which can shoot down projectiles. I'm not sure if it actually works very well with the versus the Cyclone. But this is a solid drop coming in here from Penalty. He's going to shave off 3 SCVs. You can see the auto turret has been thrown down. Medevac did get taken out here as well, so there's actually not going to be any escape here for any of the units here for Penalty. So with that, losing that Medevac already so early on, only finding 3 SCV kills, not really worth it right there. And with that, he relinquishes any sort of map control as well. So yeah, not a great drop at the end of the day.
Nope. You know, they say best form of defense is offense, and giving it a good go. But as you say, it comes off in the back foot. Interestingly, you know, you were saying like the only difference here is the Raven. Well, Penalty went straight in with the Raven, as you said that. It's again just like it seems like Penalty's like slightly behind on the same build order. You know how it's planning it. I kind of find it's like 2 warriors. You know, they've just realized they train at the same dojo. And they have like the same.
The thing is here, what you can kind of see is Azure, as you're saying, they're kind of doing something similar here. They both have pretty much the same idea, but the big difference here is the fact that you can see Azure has been ahead in terms of just overall supply. Not only is this because of the deflection of that drop, but everything he's doing is just a little tiny bit more crisp. So
yeah.
It's very subtle, like you can't really see it at the start, but it's when we start hitting the 7 or 8 minute marker into the mid game that you can really tell the difference between these players. Now this is a very good harassment coming in from Penalty, getting 7 SCVs in total with this Raven, and it gets away as well. Okay, never mind, it's not gonna get away.
Say it gets away.
Yeah, he's gonna die now.
A good drop though. 7 SCVs go down to the turrets there, so absolutely worth doing. It's great. He just managed to sneak around there, but again, he's constantly pulling that force of Marines and siege tanks back into Azure's base. And the longer he can do that and keep it out of his base, the more time he has to get back, kind of on the front foot.
I guess one thing worth mentioning, by the way, is that we are seeing different styles from either player. Azure is going to be playing into default bio. You've got the double engineering bay, whereas Penalty is actually playing mech. And mech versus bio is something that is quite rare nowadays. It used to be something people would be experimenting with in Heart of the Swarm. It did have a little bit of a rise in popularity in sort of early Legacy of the Void, but things have sort of been ironed out. And I mean, if you're like a mechanical god, like at the very top level, plays like Innovation, they're just like, nah, whatever, your tanks are invalid, and they just wouldn't care. Would stomp you with just solid bio play. Now this is going to be quite interesting because none of these guys are Innovation, which means that we will see, most likely, a mistake or two being made, and I think those kind of make for the more interesting games, where everything isn't played out perfectly, especially so when they're doing very different compositions.
Did you see the Ravens on the right hand side there?
Yeah, he tried to poke in. Okay, Dan, this is going to be this is going to be important now, though. Azure is pushing forward. He's setting up his tanks. You can see that with the Vikings here, Penalty is actually going to have some air control, giving a little bit of vision there, but these point defense drones very useful. Nice move there, shaving off a single siege tank. Obviously, I don't think he can push into this with a Hellbat's buffering and the tank on the high ground as well. But this is nice. He's putting up, he's putting on pressure, and most importantly, he's making sure that he's not going to be the one under attack.
Yeah, this is good. This is a lot of pressure for him, and I think if he can keep that positioning as well, really put like a lot of pressure on him to overcome that position outside the base. Like he's denying any other expansions for CCs as well. He can just constantly do that if he wants and just kind of explode into macro and build up to something. So he's in a very, very good position to set up defense there. But now he's loaded into the medevacs.
Oh my, is he going to go for the doom drop here?
Yes, he is.
Oh my god, here we go, boys.
To get interesting.
Already at 20 past 8 in the morning. This is way too much for my nerves to handle. He's going to get right on top of the production. There's actually a tank in the natural here for penalty, shelling away at these siege tanks. There's the big stim, but combat shield was a little bit late. Those rolled back up. The Vikings are here putting pressure on these medevacs as well. They're actually so numerous that they're going to be one-shotting these medevacs. Cleaning this up with relative ease, losing a fair amount of workers here in the main base, but you can still see that he's actually got a decent amount of SCVs remaining. 56 to 65, even though Azure pulls ahead here. Getting his medevac count reset. It's all about maximizing damage. Now, move commanding his Marines into Hellbats, not the best use of them. The penalty actually deflects that very, very well. He barely loses any siege tanks at the end of the day. He can trade out SCVs like this. He has 3 CCs, Dan.
Yeah, do you know what? He's not going to suffer loads and loads with the SCVs. It was interesting there as well because Hellbats, I mean, they could have probably dealt with that a little bit better with a transformation to Hellion. I don't know if he's got that, but that was an interesting engagement. I just feel sad because obviously he's got the sensory tower there, so he probably knew that was coming a little bit. You know what I mean? Before it happens, but he just wasn't really able to deal with it. He doesn't really have like the speed to his name right now.
Yeah, but he managed to clean it up still. And like I said, the important thing is retaining the siege tank count. He's got the Viking count still intact as well. 8 in total. Could repair them a little bit. And again, another big drop. Focused up towards the base here in the 1 o'clock position. Azure moving forward. Scan goes down. A penalty. Has to make a decision now. Is he going to commit to the attack on the base, or is he going to go home and defend? It looks as if he's just going to commit to the assault. And we might just go straight into base trade. But there are siege tanks here still left defensively for penalty.
Not sure if it's going to be enough. He's pulling the SCVs there to help as well. Going to get back in the Minivacs and go for a drop in the main. Penalty is gearing up for something big on the south.
Oh, the Medevac's getting gunned down, but these turrets still under fire from the siege tank in the third base. A couple of Hellbats also spawned right there to further thin out the numbers. And at the same time, back at home, there's only a single tank here for Azure. Penalty is pushing on forward. Lots of these tanks actually not siege, so all of this bio can actually fight very efficiently versus the siege tanks. Now they siege up, even the Liberator setting up its Death Stone. And with this is actually going to be a much closer fight, but I think that penalty big mistake there, you know, not sieging up any of his tanks. It was very late on the siege up. Might cost him.
I think so. He's probably a little bit drawn between bases right now. He's still trying to deal with the Marine siege tank combination going on in his main at the moment. Things seem to have slowed down on the south, so I think now he's got himself a kind of static point outside of Azure's base. Then he's able to just deal with the stuff up top and go back down. But he has to respond to it quickly because the siege tank's doing a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah, kind of cute attempt there to drop some bio on top of these tanks, but penalty was very quick on his heels to on siege. Now more of this bio is rallying out to these barracks, and Azure still, because there's a Liberator just controlling a little bit of ground now. SCV's pulling it to absorb some of the tank fire. This is a very nice move. He's going to stim on forward, but he's going to lose a substantial amount of bio. But I mean, look at the supply here. Both of these players very even still. 48 workers to 40 for penalty, whereas our Red Terran is slightly ahead in army supply. Both of them at equal upgrades are at 2-2, even though they do scale in a little bit better for those mech units.
It's a pretty crazy game, Tenchi, actually.
Yeah, really action-packed here. Now, big thing to mention is the fact that penalty actually retains this command center. You can see it floating down now to the 4th base location. And I don't think there's actually a 4th base here for Azure anyways. He's now floating over his main command center. So, I mean, I guess they are going to be equal in terms of mining bases as soon as he gets that down there.
I don't know. I think we got three for Azure, haven't we? 4
yeah,
for,
yeah, but mind you, the main base is completely mined out, right? So it doesn't yield any income. So they will be equal.
I think he's just using it for gas, I think, isn't he?
I think looks as if penalties are going to make this interplanetary. That is the benefit of having a fresh 4th command center. It is going to be a lot harder for his opponent to break. Anyhow, +3 attack on the way now for Azure. This is going to be a very important upgrade. A couple of these Hellions just scouting the front. Spots out the army of his opponent. Now, mind you, we have this like trifecta of sensor towers set up for penalties, so he has maximum coverage here. There's not going to be any drops that can penetrate this iron dome. He's drop-proofed himself now. And this is going to make it a lot harder for Azure to make anything happen. He's going to be kind of bottlenecked into attacking, you know, into the front. And you never want to do that into a meching army, really.
I kind of agree, but it's like even when the drops have happened before, he has had that information through the sensor tower. So I mean, it's possible that he can find an avenue to do it still. But I mean, we're seeing the SEVs; they're just going heavy into anti-air on the bases at the moment. So maybe that is going to be completely impossible once he gets all that finished up.
Yeah, I think so. Triple turrets. They're going to gun down any medevac so quickly, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that really does close down the opportunity there. But so I mean, it looks like he's just going to commit to this huge bio.
Yeah,
perhaps he'll have the opportunity to get in with speed and do something.
That's one of the things, right? The advantage with bio is that you have a lot of mobility. You can very quickly capitalize on openings in your opponent's defense. You know, you catch a couple of on-siege tanks or something like that. But with all these sensor towers or the turrets, drops aren't really an option. With all the liberators as well, these can put pressure on the siege tanks of Azure as well. And, you know, even with this now, 5th base set up here for penalty, this is going to be the next point of contention. If Azure doesn't quickly establish a 5th base of his own, then he's going to be falling behind in the economy, and that means that penalty can start trading heavily. And, like, even if he's a little bit inefficient, he might still be able to get away with it. Now, we are seeing a 5th base go down here into the bottom right corner, so Azure actually not going to be skipping a beat. He is going to stay in tandem with his opponent in terms of the economy. Slightly behind in worker supply, but he's actually got a 30 supply advantage in terms of the army, and +3 attack just now finished. Still, though, going to be very tough for him to break this location. I mean, look at all these tanks, liberators. They don't have the range upgrade, but I still think that this is pretty much unbreakable. No way can you attack into this.
You never know. We might see some creative play. I like this idea, actually. I'm pretty sure he identified that penalty was on the right-hand side, so maybe he's going to try and take a little opportunity to try and attack the CC on the left side. You see him stimming in now, going for that. He's going to come across the siege tanks. They're going to get a lot of splash damage as the Marines go in, but he does actually catch him off guard still and may get the CC down, which I think is going to be a very good pickup.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. Mass repair goes down, but not in time. The liberators show up. The sieging up as well, but it's not going to be in time. They're all going to get gunned down, capitalizing on the +3 attack advantage. +3 attack soon done here for Meching Terran. 8 more seconds, but I think that the crucial attack has been delivered as he cleans up a lot of the siege tanks. The bio army has been severely thinned out, but I do think that at the end of the day it does favor Azure. They're knocking down the mining base as well as killing so many of these hard to replace tanks for his opponent. You can see penalties. He's barely got any minerals to work with, whereas Azure's army a lot cheaper and quicker to produce.
I think that was actually a huge turning point in this game, actually. We were talking about like the kind of speed the bio delivers. He used that perfectly. You see both players, either whether they've got sensor towers or whether they are base scanning, there's a hell of a lot of recon going down in this game. And they're making some really good tactical decisions, and I think that was one of them. He knew. I think he knew that army was going to be too slow to get over there.
Yeah, exactly.
And just delivered a crushing blow, but perfect timing. And what a way to get back in the game.
Yeah, really solid there. He's even managed to secure himself this gold base mining now, and this is going to be great for Azure to continuously keep fueling his war machine. Good scan as well. Just confirming exactly where the army is. And again, this is what you want to do. Pounce on the army before the tanks siege up. He's starting to even split a little bit of this bio. Every single siege tank is going to get decimated. The liberators are here, but what are they going to do? They've lost all of their ground support, and now stimming forward, these Marines are going to be gunning down every single unit in the skies. Oh, actually, a couple of medevacs falling there as well. Thought they were his own there for one moment, but again, Azure, man, he's just being so cost effective. He's taking down all of these key units. And the scan goes down here for penalty in the bottom right. Sees he has a mining base. I'm like, oh, crap. I'm actually further behind than I thought I was. So I mean, at this stage, this is rough, man. You can see that Azure's up by 50 army supply.
You can just see by the income of minerals as well. I mean, it's so easy for Azure to go in, deal this damage, and just reconfigure or just get their army back up again. Do you know what I mean? He's flexible, and it just means he can keep attacking, come back, and it's relentless. It's kind of like that snake that doesn't want to let you get away. And yeah, I mean, I would say this is looking very, very confidently going to go in the favor of Azure right now because of that. It's an excellent game, and scans have been so important in this match. They're just going down all the time. The intel is great.
Yeah, mind you, it is a bit of a game sense sort of thing, knowing when and where to scan in the game, and they become such a crucial part of late game TVT, especially so when you're playing versus mech, where it's so important to figure out where the tanks are positioned, what areas of the map they're covering. So both these players have been doing a really good job in that sense. Nonetheless, I really felt as if Penalty had a good opportunity there to strike. After the initial attack from Azure into his base where he Doom dropped, I think if that sort of semi-base trade, because none of them really decided to commit very hard, I think if Penalty would have managed the attack a little bit better, kept his tank siege, he might have been able to just take this game, but now it's completely turned on its head. Azure's just going to gun forward here, get right to the top of these tanks, just break the siege line. The command center is completely exposed. SCV's hightailing it out of there, but I don't think that there's any escape. Command center goes down, and Penalty, man, he's scrambling to organize some sort of defense, but he's wide open right now. There's nothing he can do.
No. Called. That was a really, really good game. Really good game. Congratulations, Azure. It's going to make it 2-1 in the series. Sorry, 2-0. 2-1.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, we should probably explain, just for anyone that is tuning in, the first match that is on series at the moment, Scyther versus Strike TVT, was a forfeited match to BearMe. I believe Strike was not in attendance.
Correct.
Which means it presents the second week that Scyther has been unable to play.
And it's not even on his side, you know. It's been his opponent who hasn't shown up, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but hey, at least we get to see Azure again. We've got a couple of other names that pop up today. We I think we have Hunter X, who we loved seeing last week, actually. Played Textbook Zerg, coming up in one of the series later on.
Hey, put on a good show. That's
absolutely.
That is for certain.
Absolutely, but the brackets are in the chat right now for anybody who is watching live on Twitch, and you can check out the games that are coming up today and all of the names that we saw last week, plus some new ones. Teams have reconfigured their loadout, I'm going to call it.
Hey, you need to stop joining the lobby, dude.
Yeah, do you know what? It's different doing the lobby. We did all replay last week.
Yeah, but we're inviting you right now. Join. There you go. Now you're in.
I wasn't in the game. Sorry. There you go.
You keep forgetting, man. Making my.
I've never actually done this once for joining a lobby, so
okay.
It's not forgetting. You need to take my hand, Tenshi, and you need to walk me through the fields of
lack of routine.
The lobby.
Yeah, no worries, man. Nonetheless, that was a pretty good showing, guys, from either side. I really feel as if it was, very even. Like, it could have really been either player's game at that stage. There were a couple of crucial moments there, like I pointed out. The decision to unsiege, like initially the late siege by the ramp controlling the entryway into the main, and then the unsiege as well, allowing Azure there to actually drop on top of some of the tanks, shave them off in decent numbers. Next one coming up, though, is going to be Ranger versus Psyarch, and this is going to be kind of cool. Like, always fun for me to watch Psyarch play, because it's so rare to get to catch any of these guys. I've even casted Vice Ravana, like, back in the day. It was a while ago, though, like maybe a year or so. I've casted the only two, like, active and relevant Japanese StarCraft players. That's kind of, like, nice. I guess we can count Winter into that category now, because he lives in Japan. He's going to stay there for the next, like, 3 or 4 years or so. So that's yeah, he plays for 1F Pro. So
I can't remember Winter's game from last week, actually.
Do we count him into that category?
I don't know. I always find that's a bit of a weird area. You know, I get the same thing in the Olympics, you know, where somebody who's just like living in another country from another. Where do you define it? But yeah, I mean, I guess if he's residing permanently in Japan, then he becomes the Japanese player.
Yeah, I guess we'll count him under that category then. Yeah, Winter's kind of good. He did like very easily dismantle Wally in the ZVZ of last week. Nonetheless, we have our second set coming up right now. As you can tell, we are in the game. So let's get right into it, guys. Here it is. In the top left, it is going to be BearMe's Psyarch. He needs to win one more game for his team, and then they move on.
Yeah, absolutely right. And playing in the bottom right-hand side, Red Protoss, it is Ranger from Vicious Killers, and he has to win this game, keep his team in this series. Bit of a burden.
A little bit.
Yeah, a lot of pressure right now, actually. And you have to take into account that that mental factor does do something.
Yeah, no, it really does. Obviously, this is different from playing at LAN, but playing in a tournament setting like this still has a completely different sort of feel to it than it is just playing on the ranked ladder.
Absolutely.
And I think, especially so because he's coming up against Psyarch, right? And even though Psyarch has been up and down, he's never really reached the top level. When he spikes and he gets into a comfortable game, he's actually really good. So if he can find his stride in this one, I think Ranger is going to have, you know, a pretty big mountain to climb, represented in our Japanese player. But we'll see how things go down here. I'm not entirely sure how Psyarch feels in PVT. I know his TVT is very solid, but this is a very different matchup. So, like I said, I'm very keen to see where he stands right now in just his game overall, really. And then, of course, a little bit of bias there because we're mates, him and I.
There's always bias in your casting, potentially.
To a certain degree, I think that's...
I've noticed that. Does it define your friendships? Do you ever, like, meet someone out at an event and be like, yeah, I'm kind of friends with this guy, so...
so I hope he wins. Nah. I mean, it's always one or two things, right? Like, either I'm genuinely like, yeah, this is cool to, see my friends play. Or I'm going to be like, yeah, wow, I had no clue my friend was this bad. Like, and I'll sort of tear them apart a little bit. I'm quite ruthless, Dan.
Believe me, Tenchi, I'm aware of how ruthless you are. We've known each other for a long time.
What is that now? A little over a year? Actually, more than a year and a half, I think. Roughly a year and a half.
It's well over 2 years.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is actually.
No.
Yeah, you're going by Twitch subscription. Which is a bad measure of friendship.
I am actually. Yeah,
it's paid friendship.
I didn't think about that actually. I should probably just unsubscribe.
What I was gonna say though,
content has been lacking as of late.
Thank you very much. I've been ill. What can I say?
No excuse.
What I was gonna say, like whilst we're on that topic, we're just talking about psychology and stuff. Already, we're actually not seeing. Okay, I say that we are seeing Starport top right-hand side of the map. It was a kind of like, when you have these best of ones, like additional to everything we were talking about pressures when we get into this game 3 in a 2-0 situation. Like when we were seeing players last week, we were seeing in a best of one, incredibly risky. Do you know what I mean? Like just all-ins from the start.
Especially some of the ZVZ games. I mean, it's kind of the nature of the matchup that it's very volatile. But even then, like in the matchup itself, you can play very safe. You can sort of force it into a longer game. So
yeah, I agree. But we were kind of begging for longer games, for kind of like more games where the players maybe I want to say like respected each other a little bit more. Didn't think they could get away with doing such things because sometimes it just backfired horribly. But a best of one here. I think we definitely see that from Ranger. He seems to be playing the cautious game, which I think is sensible.
This is actually a really weird build that he's doing right now. He's going for a 3-gate robo with those a warp prism, which that is, I mean, it makes sense from the point of view where, like, yeah, you want to put on some light pressure going to a third base, but he made a single immortal behind this. Does leave him a little bit susceptible to this Liberator. Forces a defensive warp in back at home. This is, of course, always really frustrating for Protoss. When you go for a warp prism build, you really want to be warping in on your opponent's side of the map. And now because of that, he's distracted. You can see that he's going to be giving Sayaka enough time to finish up this bunker. And mind you, there's no Twilight Council, there's no additional tech behind this. So the only thing that Ranger has to work with is going to be this warp prism. Widowmine actually catches one of these Stalkers out there and spots out that Ranger is going to try to elevate some of these units into the main base.
Absolutely. He's going good in on the Widowmines as well, so I think he's definitely wanting to stop any kind of drops in the base. Pulled all of his SCVs there, I guess to draw fire or distract so that the few Marines he has are going to be able to gun down the Stalkers there. So interesting. I'm still amazed at the inefficiency of the starport, Tenchi. He built it all the way on the right-hand side of the map, and it's had to bring it all the way back. God knows how far back that's put his build order for this.
Yeah,
we haven't now seen any medevacs for these Marines because of that.
That's the thing. It really slows things down, right? And as you point out, the Liberator didn't really do all too much. Now, Ranger is going to keep trying. He's got this one Immortal in this Warp Prism. It does represent a lot of damage individually here, but there's no additional support elements. Oh! Not really paying attention there. Losing a lot of shields and a lot of HP. Psyarch is in a very good position right now. His stim is late, mind you, obviously because, again, coming back to what you said, you know, he opened up like that with the proxy starport. So that is sort of like, you know, the one crux in what he's doing. Ranger, on the other hand, completely shut down with that initial attack. But I'm worried, actually, because Ranger is going to be going into a much higher tech than that of Psyarch a little bit earlier. He's going into the robotics bay. He's got the Forge on the way, starting disruptors. Huh. No third base for either side. I was really expecting a third base here for Ranger to come down behind this, but I guess
I think it looks like he's maybe preparing to kind of expanding north, but
so
it's
late.
Oh, great Widow Mines there. It's got a lot of Widow Mines preventing the War Prisms from getting into the main. I think the good thing is that Psyarch is defending himself very well. You know, once the medevacs and everything get out, you know, there's a good defense there. Defense there. We've got another command center being built in the natural. So it looks like he is ready to expand. But I think with that defense, you know, he's going to secure himself the mining, and you know, just get the army he needs. If he scans, you know what I mean? If he gets the counter build right, then it will still be in a very good position. But Protoss is taking that third Nexus now.
Yeah, I'm somewhat split here from what Ranger is doing, right? He gets the initial disruptor. Okay, he's going to continue disruptor production. I thought he was going to go for like maybe 1 or 2 just to have that as safety, sort of keep the Terran pin back. Not going to be going into any other sort of tech. I was expecting Colossus at first, but huh. It's really interesting when you see this from Protoss. Disruptors versus Terran are actually very uncommon. The last time I saw something like this, I guess it brings me back to someone like Parting maybe. Korean Protoss was very notorious for throwing out sort of unorthodox builds or compositions at times. But this is still it's kind of cool to see from Ranger that he's not afraid to, you know, with this sort of throw his opponent a curveball. Maybe Psyarch isn't too used of, you know, splitting his units to deal with the oncoming splash damage from those disruptors. I don't know. Have you seen disruptors in action, Dan?
I have. In fact, I was watching. I can't remember whose YouTube channel it was. I was watching quite possibly one of the best disruptor kill sets I'd ever seen. Like 32 kills on Marines with 2 disruptors. You know, like, it was disgusting. They're a very, very potent unit with you know, with the right micros. So yeah, I've seen them. I hate them, as I do with most Protoss units. One thing I was just going to point out, by the way, now correct me if I'm wrong here, but Terran's going to be a lot faster than Protoss. With the third Nexus there, especially expanding up north, he has a long way to travel with some relatively slow units. Granted, they have Blink, but we're seeing the medevacs load up right now, and the right Doom drop is going to be really hard to defend. Especially if we're going to see these Stalkers and Disruptors moving out in the center of the map, which they will. They might catch the drop as it comes over. In fact, he's trying to hide that right now.
Oh, and I think
but if this drop goes in and if Protoss is up the field, like, I think this is going to be hard to defend. There's no cannons.
Seeing this though, I'm worried actually for Psyarch, because the Protoss army is very powerful. He's got the War Prism as well with it, so he's got a lot of, you know, reinforcement potential right there. This drop goes in from Psyarch, and that's going to be it. This is going to be his main army. He commits, and there's no backing out of this one. At least he won't have time to come back and defend, and now he's going to go straight in towards the main base at the same time. You're going to see Ranger now pull the trigger on his own attack. He can gun down this command center if Psyarch isn't quick on his heels. Going to get right on top of these SCVs. Command center. It will get out of there for now, but there's nothing really at home to defend. Ranger on the other side, he's actually going to be losing all of his infrastructure. Main Nexus getting taken out.
This is just a race to see who can destroy each other's base the quickest. There's all-ins from both sides at perfect timings. Look at that Disruptor! Whoa! 26 SCVs.
Okay, it gets the workers. But the important part here, Dan, is that Psyarch keeps his army alive. The fighting units are staying alive at the top of his ramp. At the same time, he's gunning down more of these bases for the Protoss. You can even see that he's supply block. The Liberator's on top of the ramp, supported by the Widow Mine. Ranger can't break this position. And he's lost everything back at home. Sent back into the Stone Age. This is brutal.
I imagine that's quite far back from Protoss.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's more than a mere 2,000 years, man. Or whatever was that, 40,000? I don't even know.
This was great commitment. Timing couldn't have worked out better. I think, you know, as soon as he saw Protoss moving up, probably predicted what was going to happen. But he has actually got the base defense now, even if he's just going back off of 2 CCs. Ranger, I don't feel knows whether he's going backwards or forwards. In fact, he's wasting a lot of time by not making that decision, but then he can't really deal with this if they get back in the medevacs and fly off. So, Psyarch, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident he's taken this game.
Yeah, it does look like it, to be honest. I'm glad that you're not going to be bullshitting here and just like, oh, maybe he has a chance. Now,
no, I come from an RTS where you have to do that because the games are 40 minutes long.
Okay, these are some decent. Oh, that's actually a really good disruptor hit. However, the War Prism does get gunned down. Blinks on forward. He will be able to actually kill every single unit here for Psyarch. So his army has been pretty much just minced. Now, still on the defense here, Psyarch has a very powerful defensive setup. Needs to rebuild a little bit that army though. Mind you, he actually ended up losing that one command center, so he's only down to 2. However, Ranger, he's only got this 4th base mining up here in the right-hand side of the map. After that, I mean, at first you can see he's got very few minerals to work with. He just needs to build pylons right now to just open up his supply again.
Very tough situation to be in. I feel like he's wanting to commit, but he isn't able to commit. I think, you know, it's almost like if he's going to make this decision to stay in, and bear in mind, he is carrying the team right now. If he loses this game, his decisions are...
Dan, 9 probes just died. Ranger has 1 worker. Now he has 2 workers. Soon he has 3 workers. But that's like nothing.
And then he'll have 4 workers? Is that where we're going with this?
I mean, hopefully. Psyarch has been taking a couple of big hits here from these disruptors though, so he needs to be very careful about this. Because he doesn't have Liberator range, he can't effectively keep leapfrogging forward as he wants to. So he needs to be a little bit careful about how he engages here.
No, I like what he's trying to do with the disruptors, just to try and clear what he can and make a path for himself. But we're going to be seeing Psyarch. He's just kind of rerouting some troops, and I actually think Ranger saw that he's going down just to make sure, trying to buy himself enough time so he can maybe look at getting his macro back home. You know, everything's sorted out. He needs to maybe just pop another Nexus and just go for it. But there's Widow Mines all over the place for where the Nexus would go. So it's kind of covered. Psyarch's got it covered.
Good snipe there on that one medevac. He's going to take down 2 Liberators as well. Oh, these Purification Novas! Doing a ton of damage to Psyarch's army. Now moving forward, Force Field's actually not doing anything really. He will gun down the 2 Disruptors at the very forefront. Here comes the sandwich, and this is it. There is nothing left but Protoss spam. And Psyark is going to crush this army. And with that, it's GG. Ranger taps out. And BearMe gets the 3-0 victory.
Good game. Tough one as well. That was a great decision from Psyark. I think we go back to speed again. Terran's speed and just that kind of flexibility for if you spot your opponent somewhere, and especially when you expand in kind of that long line, there's just, unless you've defended well, there's really little chance that you're going to be able to defend those drops just in and out, constantly bouncing you left to right. It wastes so much of your time. Psyark had that nailed down. But that could have gone another way, obviously, if Ranger had managed to push through that natural expansion from Psyark. But yeah, good defense from him. Good game.
Yeah, was pretty exciting, actually. We got 2 pretty good games to start the day here, guys. And with that said, though, with that final victory from Psyark, good to see my boy sort of staying on top of things. BearMe claims victory over VK. So with that, let me just quickly check our schedule. We have another series that is supposed to be starting shortly.
40 minutes.
In 40 minutes. That's a long time. It's going to be Ape Gaming versus VTLU2 for the next series. Again, going to be a best of 5. Now, what I'm seeing here is that the first map is still stuck on to be decided. Wait, I'm actually looking at the wrong one. Pardon me. It's going to be SYF versus VTLU1. And that one is going to be Crimson versus Hunter XX to start things off with the ZBZ. That's actually going to be a pretty good one. Crimson and Hunter XX, I feel, just right off the bat, quite evenly tied. And Hunter XX actually played a really good game last week in a ZBP, though.
Textbook.
Yeah, so that one is going to be pretty cool to see, how that one pans out. Because they very close at beating Varun 5 there. In, I believe, the last set of last week.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, Varun 5, they pulled in on that ace match. It was the only ace match we were treated to last week. Yeah, Demilove with Meomaika.
Everything is just
which was kind of nice in its own way, because Demilove had already lost to Meomaika in the series, and then managed to get his revenge, which I'm pretty sure he's happy with.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to be seeing him again in one of the later series today as well. Coming up against Bistork, so more interesting games on the way. It's already been a more interesting set series since last week, actually. So pretty hyped for the next set. Tenchi.
Yeah.
Whilst we are here and have a couple of people on the stream, quick shout out to sponsors for this event, which of course is Dank Shrine. You guys can see their logo. I think it's here, depending where my camera is, down in the bottom left. Guys, go and check out their podcasting for StarCraft 2. They've been a huge benefactor to this event. SSAC guys are super grateful for their input. So thank you, Dank Shrine, and go and check them out. I'll post the link in the chat just now.
Yeah, do that. Really cool. Has a lot of very interesting guests.